Hello everybody, it's Star Raptor here. Welcome to my spoiler-free review for Star Wars Canto Bight. This is part of the journey to Star Wars The Last Jedi. So we're going to see this location, Canto Bight, appear in The Last Jedi. And we're also going to see, hopefully, these characters appear in the movie as well. And I can say that with a lot of confidence because if you pick up the Barnes & Noble exclusive edition of this book, you get images of these characters showing up in The Last Jedi. So what is this story all about? Canto Bight is this location on this planet of Cantonica, which is this resort kind of place that everybody knows about in the galaxy. This is the place that everybody goes to hang out. It's basically like the Las Vegas of the Star Wars galaxy. A lot of gambling, a lot of races going on, and stuff of that regard. The best way I could sum up this story is Sopranos meets Star Wars with a little bit of James Bond. It's that kind of story. So Canto Bight is actually a book collecting 4 novellas, which are a little bit longer than short stories, and this all takes place over the course of one night. And all these stories are actually interconnected. So the first one we have is called Rules of the Game. This is written by Saladin Ahmed, and it's about this tourist that goes to Canto Bight for the first time. He's very gullible. He gets taken advantage of by this criminal in order to succeed in his goals. The next one we have is called The Wine and Dreams. This is written by Mira Grant. It's about this wine sommelier. What's a wine sommelier, you may ask? Well, it's about this person that goes all across the galaxy trading different wine and different alcohols, and they end up on Canto Bight with this very dangerous deal. The next one we have is called Hear Nothing, See Nothing, Say Nothing. This is written by Rae Carson, who also wrote a short story in From a Certain Point of View. And this is all about this masseuse that gets mixed up in this power struggle between 2 prominent figures in Canto Bight. And the last one we have is called The Ride. This is written by John Jackson Miller, who also wrote a short story in From a Certain Point of View, as well as A New Dawn. And this is about this gambler that basically loses all his money and has to get it back or else he gets killed. So moving into my positives for Canto Bight, I have to say this book does an amazing job in fleshing out the never before seen location of Canto Bight. I mean, we get everything from poverty level to middle class to the higher ups to the people that work there to the police force to who runs the place, the Fathier races. We get a lot about different new games like Zimweddle and all this stuff that's going to be new to Star Wars. So a lot of stuff about building this world. And I don't think we've ever really gotten a book like this to really just focus on one location and just hammer out the details as well as all these writers do. The next thing I want to talk about is the variety in stories. So you go from one story that feels, like I said, more like a James Bond, another one is like a Sopranos. So you got a lot of cool, different melding of genres and different things. Some stories are very fun, other stories are just very dark. Another thing I have to say about this is the characters that are introduced in this that have never been seen before in Star Wars. I got attached to them. I didn't think that was going to happen in a couple dozen pages, but I mean, I'll be honest with you, I was caring about these characters and I wanted to see where they go from here, so that's why I can't wait to see The Last Jedi to hopefully get a glimpse at some of these characters. And finally, one of the coolest things about this book is how these stories are all interconnected. I would not recommend skipping through the other stories first. Like, start off chronologically with where this thing begins, because you will see characters cross over. You will see locations in Canto Bight specifically cross over. And it's just really fun seeing that. It hasn't really been done in Star Wars. Lately, Lucasfilm's been on a kick with a lot of these short story kind of books. We've had From a Certain Point of View, we had Legends of Luke Skywalker, and now we have Canto Bight, and Canto Bight is the most connected out of all of them. It's just really rewarding kind of reading these stories and picking out names that you've read in previous stories. My overall criticism of this book would be certain parts drag a little bit. There's not a lot of action in this book. Don't go into this book expecting this to be just your typical Star Wars story. This is very different, and it moves a little bit slower. The pacing was a little bit off in some of the stories. And specifically talking about the one I didn't really enjoy was The Wine and Dreams by Mira Grant. I didn't really connect. I just kind of wanted to get through it, honestly. There were some interesting elements, but it was just so out of loop for what Star Wars normally is that I couldn't really recommend that story. However, what I will say is my favorite story out of all these was The Ride by John Jackson Miller. And it was just so fun. It was a fun story about this gambler, and you could tell that this guy did his homework when he's studying up on how to create different new games in the Star Wars universe. Like, I want to go to Atlantic City one of these days and see Pizak or something like that nature. Like, he does such a great job of telling a story about a gambler, and it makes it so interesting about how clearly he's able to talk about the games themselves. And I mean, I'm not a gambler, but I was along for the ride, and I was understanding very easily what was actually going on, but it was still a story that was engaging and a story that really just made me want to keep turning the pages. Now, normally I score something I review, but in this case it's written by 4 different authors, so I'll just go ahead and say I recommend this to you. But I will say it's not essential for you to read this. It's not essential for you to go into The Last Jedi knowing every little one of these characters. There are going to be little background characters that you might spot in one of the frames. But I really had a great time reading this. I'll be honest with you, I did not expect to have this much fun with this book, and I love how they're all, again, interconnected. And I'm going to be so much looking forward to Canto Bight because it gets explained about every little detail in this city, and I just can't wait to see it for my own eyes because it really does seem like it's a beautiful city. So that's going to do it for my review of Star Wars Canto Bight, but I want to hear what you guys thought. What do you think of Canto Bight and The Last Jedi? Are you looking forward to seeing this new location? Let's talk about it in that comment section below. Also, if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. I have plenty of other Star Wars content that I upload on a weekly basis, so make sure you check that out. I'm Star Raptor. Thank you guys for watching, and may the Force be with you always. Thanks for checking out the video. Please hit that thumbs up symbol. It helps me know that I'm making content that you guys enjoy. And if you enjoyed this video, I also include 2 videos down below you guys should check out. And please consider subscribing to this channel. It helps support me, and it notifies you guys of when I get new videos up on the channel. You can also contact me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Star Raptor.